Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. It is episode number 314 for June the 24th, 2025. Hope you're surviving the heat wave. At least in our area, we're having a heat wave, and it looks like it's kind of covering most of North America. So anyways, but it's summer. Let's not complain. Winter's around the corner. Yeah, I said it. And we'll all be complaining in 3 months' time about things getting cold. So enjoy the heat while we can, especially if you've got AC. Okay, let's jump into what I have been working on. And here we go. You've seen this in bits and pieces before. And if you saw the vlog yesterday, I gave you a sneaky peek at this as well. This is my latest quilt, is a Quilt of Valor. It's an official pattern, excuse me, from the Quilt of Valor site, the Canadian one, and it is called Across the Nation, and it is a sampler, and I love it. I think it turned out really nice. The instructions were pretty well written. There were a few little minor errors, which I have sent off to the people who publish these, just to let them know. Nothing major, but anyways, great pattern, and I bought backing fabric for it on the weekend, well actually last Friday, over at Ultimate Sewing, and there it is. This is what I'm using for the back of it. Now technically it isn't quite the same colors as on the front. The front is a lot of reds, some blacks, and beigey browns. This is sort of a this is sort of a reddy brown. And this fabric actually comes from the new line, O Canada 13 from Northcott, which I absolutely love, and I just ordered a bunch of that yesterday, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this will look fine on the back of this quilt. And the thing too is, no one looks at the back of the quilt at the same time as the front. Well, you could, but nobody does. It'll work fine. So I've got to get that on Lucy. I don't know when. This week's a busy week. Here we are Tuesday already. Next 2 days are taken up with different things. So maybe on the weekend, we'll see. Anyways, I'm really happy with it. And as I said, the pattern is fairly easy to follow. Just a couple of very minor little corrections for it that need to be made, which wouldn't give anybody any problems at all if you've been quilting for any length of time. Excuse me. Frog. I always have a frog. Maybe it's a toad. I don't know. Okay, this one. This is called Bits and Pieces. It's an In the Hoop tote bag, and it's by Sweet Pea. And I have to make 17 of these blocks. And right now they look a little strange, but I think once it's all put together, it'll look fine. Now, there are some other blocks that are a little different that have to go into this as well. So, a little different kind of technique and design from what I have done before in Sweet Pea bags, but we'll see how this all works out. And it's a great little scrap buster too, because you don't need a whole lot of fabric. You just need a whole bunch of different colors, or you don't. You could make it all your little pieces all the same color, and I think that would look very good as well. And I'm also working with a gray background. I don't usually do that, but in the picture of this bag, and let me show you what I'm talking about, what the finished product looks like. I just have to find it here for you. Here we go. This is what the final product is going to look like, and I hope. So there's a little bit of embroidery up at the top in the border. This is going to be set, those blocks on point. So we have some finishing triangles to put in there too. So yeah. And right now, I think it's still on sale. It was on sale for half price when I bought it at the time of recording this. So if you're interested, you can probably get it. And I like to buy things from Sweet Pea when they're on sale. But these embroidery places have sales all the time. So, you know, you can't miss out. Okay. So I have another new project to work on, and this is courtesy of my sister. My sister has decided that she wants a quilt. She's got a room she's redoing in the family cottage, her husband's family's cottage. And she said she wanted a quilt and she'd like something in earth tones. Well, I have never made a quilt for my sister. I've tried several times, but she always tells me she doesn't really want one. She has no place to store it, you know, the thing. But when she came to me with that, I was thrilled. Now, she did offer to pay for the fabric and everything like that. And I said, no, I gift it to you. Yeah, you're my sister. So I'm just thrilled to work on it. So she didn't give me much to go on, except for, you know, that's going on in a double bed, and she wanted it in earth tones. So I sat down at E8 and started to design something. And I'm going to show you what I came up with. And this is what I came up with. Now, you may recognize, I don't think I've shown this to you because I was sort of keeping this a secret. Well, it's not a secret anymore. This actually I designed as a Quilt of Valor quilt. So you have the stylized maple leaves and the stars, and I'm using O Canada fabric, and I'm using that new line that I just mentioned called O Canada 13. And I love that line, as I already said. Now, I showed her something else that I had designed for her that is similar to this. I don't have a picture of it. But then I showed her this just off chance, and she said she loved it. So I was thrilled because pattern's done. I just need to get more fabric, and I have since ordered that. I ordered it yesterday. So when I get that, I can start on this. But anyways, yeah, so I'm going to get an absolutely original quilt because I designed it. And if it's, I told her this is square and it's about 78 by 78. I said, depending on how much drape she wants at the sides and at the foot of the bed, if it doesn't look like it's quite enough for her, I said, we can always add another border to it, a little wider border. And she seems to be happy with it. So great. I'm going to get started on the production of this just as soon as my fabric arrives. So what's that take us to? Well, let me see here. Some announcements. Okay. Sewing with Stephen is this Wednesday, as always. Start time. Don't mind me. I'm just looking up here because I'm moving things around on my screen. Okay. Yeah. Sewing with Stephen, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time till 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All are welcome. Come and go as you please. Work on whatever you want to work on. Have a good time. And speaking of having a good time, we did a pop-up sew day on this past Saturday, and we had about 30 people there at the height of it. And I think everybody enjoyed themselves. And it was a good day to sew because in some parts of the world there were thunderstorms, and in other parts it was just hot as Hades. And so if you were in a nice air-conditioned house, your sewing room was nice and cool, then yeah, it was a great day. When's the next pop-up sew day, you might want to know? Next one I have planned for Saturday, July the 12th, and more details will come out about that as we get closer to the date, which will include the link, the Zoom link for it too. Again, that's another one where you come and go as you please. Everyone is welcome, work on whatever. However, what will be different about that one is my birthday. Well, technically my birthday is the 14th of July. This will be on the 12th, but that's close enough. And there will be prizes. Yes, there will be prizes. Not sure what they're going to be yet, but yeah, I'm working on that. So stay tuned for more information about that pop-up sew day, July the 12th. Was it? Maybe I should send out save the date cards like they do for weddings. I don't know. Okay, so little story here to tell you about the next thing I'm going to show you. You know that we went to the Canadian Quilt Show last week, and if you've seen Chatty from last week, and if you saw Stephen and Walter live, we talked all about it, and I even had I put up the whole of So Chatty is basically the quilt show because I did a lot of video. So while we were at the quilt show, I didn't buy anything except for some replacement rotary cutter blades. So I spent a total of $60, which is unusual for me. When I go to a show, I buy something ever. I buy a lot of stuff. I buy stuff almost from every booth that's there. This time, no, for a variety of reasons, which I won't get into right now, but because we discussed it all on Stephen and Walter Live. So if you're interested in all of that, our post-mortem of the Canadian Quilt Show, check out the rebroadcast of Stephen and Walter Live. But I thought I was getting away light. I thought. The next day, we went to Ultimate Sewing, our local quilt store, and I needed that backing that I showed you earlier. While we were in, and I didn't intend to buy anything else because there wasn't anything else that I needed or wanted. So we're in there and they're cutting my fabric, and Walter says, "Look at this." Now, at Ultimate Sewing, like so many other quilt stores, they have classes and they hang samples of the finished products from those classes. And they had one hanging up in there. And I hadn't noticed it when we first came into the store. Walter did, and he says, "This one is spectacular." Well, yes, it is. And I looked at it, and there was a big sign attached to it that said, "Kit available." So I said to Donna, one of the people that works there, I said, "Donna, wrap it. I'm taking that one." And then Donna, being the enabler that she is, she says, "You should probably pick up the backing fabric for it now because we have it here, but it probably won't last." So I did. And here is what the kit looks like, and the pattern is called Stormy Sea, and it's batiks, and I love batiks, and I love this pattern, and it's going to look great on our bed when I get it done, whenever that will be. The kit cost $400, $395, and of course I bought 3 meters of the backing fabric, so that was another $90 on that. So yeah, I thought I was getting it off light last week. Not so, and it's all Walter's fault. Now here is the ulterior motive that he had. He will never admit to this, but I know he did. You know that I finished the Barn Star sampler, and you've seen it, and you saw pictures of it on the bed. Now, some of you may have thought to yourself, but you were polite enough to keep it to yourself, that you thought it looked a little weird on the bed, because behind the headboard is another quilt I made some time ago, quite a long time ago actually now, which I'm very proud of because it was at that time I think the biggest quilt I've ever made, and it was a lot of it was applique. So yeah, and it hangs on the wall at the head of the bed. This Barn Star sampler, totally different color scheme. And it stands out that it's a totally different color scheme. And I know people say that quilts are like trees in the forest. No two are alike and they all go together. They don't. And I thought that when I put it on the bed, but damn it, I worked off and on for 2 years on that bloody quilt, which I was calling the quilt from hell. So it was going on the bed. Temporarily. Now, because Walter said, no, I really like, he says, that one, Stormy Sea, that would look really good on our bed. And he's darn right about that. And because the colors are darker in it, it'll look fine with the quilt on the wall. And I said, "Well, you just don't like the Barn Star sampler." He said, "No," he says, "I like the quilt." He said, "It's the colors in it. They're a little bit feminine." Well, you want to know something? We're usually on the same page. And we were on the same page that because I had been thinking that after I put it on the bed as well. But I wasn't going to give in to that. At the time, it was going on the bloody bed. So it's on the bed for now. As soon as I get Stormy Sea done, then will be replaced by Stormy Sea, and maybe it'll go on the guest bed or whatever. So yeah. So Walter's an enabler, but he had an ulterior motive. He didn't like that other quilt in that position. So, okay. So away we'll go. We'll get started on that too. I don't want to start on it until I get at least well started into my sister's quilt. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if I can work on 2 quilts at the same time. I have tried that before, and it never seems like I'm getting anything done when I do that kind of thing. I'm kind of a straight line person, you know. Project 1, done. project 2, done, etc. Okay, so I've already mentioned on So Chatty that last week we showed you a video of the Canadian Quilt Show and all the different quilts and the beautiful quilts that were there. But I know that for some of you, that video probably went by pretty fast because, yeah, I had to go pretty fast to try and get some shots in before, 12 little old ladies all stuck their blue hair rinse into the camera lens, kind of a thing, or I tripped over somebody's walker or wheelchair. So, yeah, it was like that at the show. So Walter took a lot of pictures, still pictures of the quilts, and I've put them together into a slideshow that runs about 4 minutes, and I'm going to insert it right here for you now, and you can pause it at certain quilts if you want to study them a little bit more. So that's my theory, and I hope it works. So I'm going to put that here. And to continue with a quilt show, Here is a beautiful creation from one of my subscribers, Becky McElliott, and she sends along this beautiful creation for you to enjoy as well. This week's quilt from a subscriber comes from Becky McElliott, and Becky sends us this beautiful creation in jigsaw format, and this is what she has to say about it. You inspired me with the sweet pea bag. Now I just have to have this jigsaw design. It took about 2 weeks to complete with 64 5-inch blocks. Had a blast deciding what colors to use from my layer cake packages. Then I used the leftover scraps to make the binding. Thank you for all you do. I enjoy learning from you. Becky McElliott from Houston, Texas. Well, Becky, this is really a fantastic piece. All done in the hoop on your embroidery machine, I'm assuming. Yes, it is. And I think this is a great quilt for showcasing, fabrics that have a lot of pattern in them. And it doesn't really matter what you use for the fabric, it would all go together so nicely. So I think this is really beautiful, and I may have to look this design up and maybe do one for myself down the road. Thanks very much for sharing that with us, Becky. So YouTube of the week is called Quilt Trunk Show and Q&A with Shelley Cavanna of Cora's Quilts. And I have done one of her quilts before, Shelley's quilts, because I just mentioned it, the Barn Star Sampler. And she has come out with a couple of new ones as well. But this interview really gives you some insight into her creative process. So here's my review of that. This week's video clip from YouTube comes from the Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm sure you are not a stranger to the Fat Quarter Shop. Well, they run a series called Behind the Seams and do live interviews with individuals in the quilting world. And this one is Shelley Cavanna of Cora's Quilts. And the reason I found this one particularly interesting is because she is the designer of the Barn Star Sampler quilt, which I have just finished, and you heard me talk about how I felt it was the quilt from hell. Not because of the way the instructions were written. That wasn't the problem. The problem for me was so many different blocks and so many pieces to cut. That's what really got my goat. Well, during this interview, you hear about her designing process and how she comes up with her ideas, but she does have several new projects available now, and unfortunately I think they both look very much like the Barn Star Sampler, so although they're lovely, I'm not going to be doing one of those anytime soon because, well, so if you're interested though in learning about the designing process, what a designer like Shelley goes through, then you're going to want to catch this video from the Fat Quarter Shop. Quilt Trunk Show and Q&A with Shelley Cavanna of Cora's Quilts. So, future projects. Here's another one, and I've been on a roll with these, mainly because they're all free and I downloaded a whole pile of them. Whether I'll ever get them all done or not, thus they're called future projects, and it is a pattern called Desert Horizon by Giucy Giuce. This week's future project is a Giucy Giuce pattern, which I've been on a roll with lately, and it's from the Spectrastic series, and it's called Desert Horizon Quilt. And of course, as I said, it's by Giucy Giuce, and this one has a very southwestern look to it, and that, of course, is with the colors that he has picked, his line of fabric. But it is a free pattern download from Andover, and the link is in the show notes. And it looks like it would be very simple to make, and all the cutting directions are here, as well as how to put it all together. So this is one that I think would be really nice, especially in like maybe fall colors. I think it would be warm and cozy in its appearance if you did it that way. And I don't think it's too difficult either. So that's a bonus as well. So if you're looking for something that has that more fall-like southwestern feel to it, then I would suggest getting your hands on Desert Horizon Quilt by Giucy Giuce. I love his name. That's why I buy it, or I don't buy, they're free. Why I get his patterns. I love his fabric as well, and I need to maybe look into getting some more of his fabrics, which would be appropriate to use his fabrics to make his patterns. We'll see down the road. So what's twisting my seams? Now, I have had several of you send me in things for pictures for this episode, and that's great. And starting next week, I will begin showing those submissions. I'm trying to stockpile them. So if you would like to send me a picture of something in your stash and tell me um, why did you buy it in the first place? Have you used it at all or not? And do you still love it? That's all I need from you. And please just send me a picture of that and give me a little blurb of according to what I've just said. And yeah, I'll add it to the pile and we'll be looking at those. You're probably getting tired of seeing what's in my stash. But having said that, you're now going to see another one in Twisted Seams that comes from my stash, and it is called Scarlet Story. So the fabric I picked for this week on What's Twisting My Seams is one that I have totally forgotten completely about. And to be honest, I'm not sure why I bought it in the first place. But I did some time ago. And the reason I hadn't seen it in a while is because it kind of got hidden by some of the other fabrics in my stash. So when I was rooting through them, I found this and dug it out. Now, this one is called Scarlet Story, and it's by a company called ColourPop Studios, the Blank Quilting Company. I have no idea where they're located, and I've never really heard of them before. Not really sure why I bought it. As I said, do I still love it? Yes and no. I think it would make an interesting bag. I don't know if I would put it in a quilt. Maybe. It might go with a quilt. If I did a quilt that was in reds and blacks and whites and use this as my focal pattern or fabric, it might work very well for that. I don't know. I think I have 2 meters of it, so I've got a fair amount of it. This is something I will have to think about. But what'll probably happen, if I'm honest, is I'm going to put it back in my stash and I will promptly forget about it again. But it is something I have there, so maybe keep it in the back of my mind for future projects. I don't know. But anyways, that's what's twisting my seams this week. What's twisting yours? I'm still looking for people to submit things, and as I said, I don't think I can keep this going forever on my own. We'll see. So, as I said, last week was kind of a busy week. I worked on this, I worked on that, and of course, you know, I'm just not quilting, I'm 3D printing as well. So here's my last week, all the things that I was working on. So, what have I been working on this past week? Well, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm going to start off today in the Giucy room because you can see I have got the Quilt of Valor quilt. The top is all done and sitting here waiting to be put on Giucy, and maybe one day this coming week I will get around to that. I got my backing fabric on the weekend, as you can see, and I already showed that to you. I should clean this room out a little bit more. I did clean up a few things, but I need to do more in here, and I don't know when I'll get to that. So let's take a look outside at the patio. I did show you that I made cushion covers for our patio furniture out here. And I think they turned out quite nice. Oops, sorry. Went blurry for a minute. Don't know why that happened. But anyways, I think they add a little bit of color out here. And I bought these new candles. And I don't know if I showed them to you before. I think I may have. Just let me see if I can find the remote control for them. Because I love them. I think they're great. Let's see here. Turn it on. And they, well, that one doesn't seem to want to go on. Oh, there we go. They will change color, as you can see. And it adds a nice little afterglow out here. I think I just changed something. Multicolor, there we go. Yeah, they don't maybe show up that well on the video, but they're kind of pretty. So we did that. Let's turn those all off now. And let's head back in. And see what else has been happening. I do have to house clean soon. I hate house cleaning. You can see the grow lights are doing pretty well. We've been harvesting our lettuce and eating it, and Walter has taken some of that lettuce and he's transplanted it to our pots outside on the deck, and hopefully those will come along. 3D printers are pretty much silent right now, but I have been making this and that. Made a couple of gifts for friends, and yeah, I have a plan for this area. Not this week, but I think I want to clean all of this off, and I want to buy another bamboo X1C 3D printer, and it would fit right there beautifully. Yeah, you know when I start talking about where I'm going to put things that I'm probably going to get them. But I'm holding off. I'm holding off because we spent way too much money in this last week. So some projects on the go. This I've already shown you, the bits and pieces tote. I still have a few more of those to do, of the blocks, and I worked on those during the pop-up sew day on Saturday, so that was very productive. Now this I have out because I met with my sister, or am going to be meeting with my sister, planning a quilt she wants me to make for her. And she wants earth tones, it's going in the cottage, and I got thinking, I have this panel. It's actually from, it's from the O Canada 13 line of fabrics, which I love. I've already planned out a Quilt of Valor with those fabrics. I saw this one hanging up as a quilt at, well, I saw it in two places. I saw it hanging up at Ultimate Sewing, and they're doing a class with it, and I really liked it. And I saw it at the Canadian Quilt Show, and they had a kit, and I almost bought the kit, except then I saw who had designed the pattern. Patty's Patchwork. I've had nothing but bad luck with a couple of her patterns in the past. They're full of mistakes, not well written, so I don't know, but we'll see. I might take a plunge and try again, and maybe the third time's the charm with one of her patterns, and see if it's any better, because I do like the pattern. Although I think I could design it myself too. Pile of stuff over here as usual. Kits and things. Down there is a big kit that I bought on the weekend. Already talked about it. I don't know when I'll get to it. I need to straighten up my piles of fabric over there. Getting a little busy. In fact, we'll do that later on. And yeah, that's about all I've been working on this week. You know, the week gets away from you. You just start working one thing, and before you know it, the week is over with. And that brings me to online quilt store, the one I'm reviewing this week, and it is called Homemade. This week's online quilt store is called Homemade, the all-Canadian quilt. So they're definitely playing up that they are a Canadian store, and that's just fine by me. So let's take a look at their homepage. They are located in Kingston, Ontario, which is a couple of hours east of me. So let's see. They're talking about specials they had for Mother's Day, upcoming store classes. They have a quickie calendar right here. Online classes as well as in store. That's good. They have Homemade on your TV. Wednesdays, 7 p.m., Saturdays, 10 a.m. So that's on YouTube. So they have a YouTube channel as well. Never checked that out. I probably should. Have a newsletter and information about where they're located. And you even have the choice of switching over their prices from Canadian dollars to other currencies as well. So right off the bat, I think their front homepage is got lots of information without looking cluttered, so I like that. Looking up here at their menu system, learn, shop, new Easter collections, sewing machines. They have a membership program, the All-Canadian Quilt Along. Okay, so let's go to shop and check out the fabric. And how do they have this organized? It looks like they have some pre-cuts. And then they have off the bolt. Price looks like it's $10 probably a meter. I would imagine that's what that is. Do they tell us? Sold in half yard. That's in yards. Nope, don't like that. Canadian store, it should be in meters. But that's so it's $20 a meter, which is in dead center of the price range right now. So that's fine. Although they have others that are a little bit more expensive. They look like they go to $22.50 as well, and that's moving towards the higher end. So I guess it depends on which design or fabric you're buying. Now, the layout of this, am I missing something? I'm not impressed by this page after page of scrolling through. I would have liked to seen some classification, and maybe there is, and maybe I've missed it. So let's go back up to shop and into thread. Okay, they do have it organized here. Pre-order, solids, pre-cuts, batiks, fat quarter bundles, wide backs, fireside. Okay, well, let's go back into, let's take a look at what they're charging for solids. Solids look like $10.50 a meter. Well, that's pretty good. Or $10.50 a yard, I should say. It's not a meter, it's a yard. Okay. What about batiks? I saw that they had batiks listed here. Oops. Guess you gotta hit that little plus sign where you don't get the different categories. So batiks, $18 a meter. Well, that's not bad for batiks. Well, they have a fair, not a bad selection. Oh wait, they vary in price too. They can be as much as $21 a meter, depending, and as low as $12. Okay, so prices are all over the place. There's quite a range in their prices. Let's take a look at what else? Wide back. Okay, $30 for a yard, 34. Some that's a 60-inch, 108-inch. A lot of sold out. And I'm not really impressed by their selection either. Price-wise, doesn't seem, it seems to be all over the place. $34 a yard, which is pricey. But as I've said before, wide backs are pricey, but not really a great selection in wide back. Okay, that's disappointing. What about things like batting? Where do they keep batting? Do they sell batting? It doesn't look like they sell batting. Okay, what about bundles, fat quarter bundles? Okay, sold out, sold out, sold out. A lot of stuff sold out on here. Price-wise, about average, I would say, looking at this. And selection's not bad, but, well, it would be better if there wasn't all these sold out ones. So, yeah. I'm not sure why companies leave a picture of something that they had and now it's all sold out and they leave the picture up. Does that mean they're going to get more of the same or not? That I find very confusing. Also, it makes their site look a little fuller than what it really is. So I wonder if that's the trick. Okay, let's go in and check their thread. They have confetti, polyfast, machine embroidery thread. We'll come back to that. Polyester, which is Decobob, Invisifil, variegated thread. So they don't have Aurifil. They don't have Glide. Well, maybe, no, I don't know. What's under machine embroidery thread? Polyfast. I have not heard of that brand. $7 a spool, 40 weight. Okay, well, price-wise, it's not bad. I've just never heard of that kind at all. They're the first place I've come across that sells this poly brand. Okay, let's just go back. Yeah, so thread selection. If you're into Invisifil, maybe they have it. I don't know. Quilt kits, a few. Some bags. Yeah, nothing to write home about this there either. So far, I got excited when I saw their front page, but so far as I dig deeper into it, I'm not as impressed. And that's not to be negative about it. It's just not, it's not making it stand out from any of the many other stores that are online. Notions, probably the usual kind of thing. Yeah. So notions are notions. Do have stabilizers, fuse, and interfacing. Oh, there's the batting. Okay, there we go. They have 80/20 Hobbs heirloom, crib size $21, twin size 32, and that seems to be about it. And that's all they're selling in batting. Yeah, okay. So not a great selection. Now, I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. I want to go back for a second. No, it's a jelly roll batting with scrim. Okay, so no batting. All right. So not one-stop shopping here. Okay, anything else we should look at in shopping? Labels, rope patterns. Let's see, probably, yeah. They do carry the Art East patterns, or at least the Anna Green Gables one. Few others. Okay. Pretty standard. Nothing here to get too excited about. In other words, I can get any of these anywhere else. So that's okay. But then that's how patterns probably go, right? Oh, if you have a Cricut, they have Cricut supplies. Well, sort of. Yeah, not really. No. I do have a Cricut. I never use it anymore. And they do sell some paper crafting supplies as well. Okay, not a lot. 3 to be exact. All right, sewing machines. What brand do they deal with? Sewing machines. Looks like they're a Janomi dealer. Okay, and I saw embroidery machines, so I imagine those are Janomi as well, and they are. Okay, so they're a Janomi dealer. They do have long arm machines, and it's the Janomi ones as well. So they're definitely in it for Janomi for sure. So if you are a supporter of Janomi and you live in the Kingston area, might be the place to go to pick up a machine. I'm a Janomi boy, so that impresses me. All right, is there anything else we could see? I wanted to check about their classes: beginning sewing, serger, machine embroidery, quilting, free motion quilting, napkin rolled hem serger class, the all Canadian quilt along. What's the all Canadian quilt along? Okay, looks like a Hudson's Bay blanket. It's sold out. And it looks like they do it live in the studio in their store. Now, there was that calendar at the on the homemade page, front page, and I don't see it listed. Let's click see our full calendar in store TV. Click here to see the calendar. Okay, so these are their classes. Freestanding lace, so embroidery classes. They have a Saturday and Wednesday socials. They have a retreat days, homemade retreat days. They have a fall for free motion quilt class 1, class 2. Okay, but really not a heck of a lot of classes are they offering. This is interesting, retreat days. Why are they calling that retreat days? Saturday, May 24th. Well, that's past. 10 to 4 p.m. Sit and sew all day. Arrive at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Use your machines or bring yours. Use our specialty machines, no charge. Lunch, drinks, snacks, and laughs provided. Okay. Well, that might be fun. $29.99. Well, I don't think you can go wrong with the price. And you can use their specialty machines. You want to try out an embroidery or serger or long arm? Well, to say it's extra charge for a long arm, but that's not bad. That's kind of intriguing. Yeah. So if you're in that area, that might be something to look into further. Okay, so what else can I say? Oh, shipping. What about shipping? See if they have something about shipping. Not finding out much about shipping. Do they have an FAQ? Not there. Not there. Not there. Okay, so I guess we don't know anything about shipping unless we put in an order. I don't like that. I think there should be something about shipping. That just makes sense to me. So, yeah, they do have a chat. Whether that's an AI or a real person, I don't know. But anyway, so, okay. Overall assessment. Well, I got excited at first when I saw the opening page. They have, mediocre prices on their fabrics. They're nothing to write home about, but they're nothing to get upset about. They're in the middle of the road. They had a nice combination. They advertised a nice combination of classes between in-store and online, but when I went to the calendar, all I'm seeing is some in-store classes, and most of them are basically how to use your machines. Yeah, and sewing machines, they are a Janomi dealer, and they look like they have an extensive selection of Janomi machines. Okay, so I'm going to give Homemade 6 out of 10 for all of those reasons. So you may want to check it out for yourself, and the link will be in the show notes. So that's it for me for the Idiot Quilter this week. Again, just a reminder, long distance reminder, save the date, July the 12th for a pop-up sew day, Stephen's birthday bash pop-up sew day, and maybe we'll see some of you on Wednesday at Sewing with Stephen. So I hope you have a great week. I hope you're staying cool, and we'll see you later on. Bye for now.